Hey, you guys, it's Courtney Camaro. I'm outside of Muhammad Ali's real original home. We're in Chicago, and I wanted to shout out Al's Botanics and Herbs. Man, when I tell you, I am one of those people that has insomnia. I can't sleep. I can't focus on some days because I'm so sleep deprived, and this has helped. This is one of the mixtures he has that helps with sleep.
Come check out owlsherbs.com where we have all of your herbal needs and different variety of products from sea moss to black seed oil and a different variety of products for different health issues, because your health is your wealth. Purchase the Millionaire Savings Plan, available on Amazon.com and BrokeGeniuses.com. Learn how to break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, get out of debt, save more money, achieve your financial goals, and live a better life. What's going on today? Um, Pretty much this is impromptu. I'm probably gonna be the first person to drop this bombshell that is, I will say, it is partially a rumor, but I did take some time to do a little fact checking, and it turns out that it is some evidence to support what I'm about to tell you today regarding this case of Tyree Nichols basically um, getting beat down by the Memphis police. It happened, I think, early last week, or actually, it happened a few months back. But they were trying to basically handle this situation before it came out to the public, because it was very divisive, and ultimately the gentleman in question that died, Tyree Nichols, he died a few days later, as far as from what I know, um, during this basically police brutality incident. But here's the nitty gritty, and I don't like to basically put things out as far as rumors. I'm not a gossip. Like I ain't gonna lie, like I like gossip, but I'm not a gossip. This is not a gossip channel. I normally don't do this. I'm sticking my neck out here to say that, as far as from the light investigative work that I've done, as far as what this is, that I'm gonna basically give to you, as far as what happened actually, to the motives of why this guy was basically beat up so bad, is that like I said, I done a little digging, very, very premature digging, and also light, I will say. But here's the deal. If it just so happens from what I'm going to be saying is that it is not true, is not actually what happened, I will take this video down later, and I will just basically also say a public apology to say I made a mistake. But here's the deal. I definitely believe that this actually possibly happened, what I'm about to tell you. And also it happens every day in America. So I pretty much, you know, joined YouTube a long time ago, but I came back in about 2016, and basically what I came back into was basically what you would call today the manosphere, or the black manosphere, um, one of the things I'll say about the quote unquote manosphere, some people call it the pill space or red pill space. The worst of what you call it is we're a bunch of, you know, misconstrued men that hate our mamas and have problems with our mamas and quote unquote possibly even gay and can't get women. Okay, I'm not necessarily gonna say that there's other people that have don't have those issues. And it definitely relates to the discussion of what I'm going to be talking about today, as far as my revelations, as far as what actually was the motive, allegedly, of why Tyree Nichols was beat down so bad. So, um, one of the things that, as far as a collective of what we don't like, as far as most people, as if you would call in the manosphere or even in just society. Forget the manosphere. Before I ever even known anything about the manosphere, uh, going back to probably the 80s and 90s, most people do not like, as far as men, don't like simps. Okay. Now, the reason why I would say people don't like men don't like simps is because on a very low level, that it's quite harmful, but it's not that big of a deal. A lot of people have been simps. I mean, I've definitely simped back in, not too far, long ago, uh, because it messes up the whole dating and mating game. I did a video where I was kind of poking fun about simps, and it was called the symptom, and it was pretty good. Okay, I'm probably one of the most hated people in YouTube, as far as Black YouTube, probably very very hated. So I don't really get that much views because primarily I talk about people's financial shortcomings, and that's a soft issue. That's that's one of the hardest spots to touch people, is tell them that they're broke. And I've pretty much designed a channel based off of telling people that you broke. So I'm not really liked, and it's cool. But the video kind of breaks down what simps are, and I've talked about simps, here and there on my channel with different videos. And the reason why simps mess up the game or mess up the dating and mating game is because they basically give too much out, do too much, and get less in return. And it sets the precedence that other women expect those things from all men or most men, and they get used to it. But that's just the light. I would say that would be the lightweight reason why men do not like simps. The very more aggressive or you know situation I'm going to be talking about today is violent simps, which is would be called simp enforcers. Another gentleman would say, Dr. Tia Johnson would say, he calls them, I think, ConcuServes. But I like to say simp enforcers because it's more direct. It is something it's not something that I came up with. I think this is something that I think a guy by the name of Mr. Palmer, the channel Mr. Palmer is someone that said that, as far as I know of first. But nevertheless, you could when I was coming up in the early 90s, late 90s, it was Captain Saver. Okay, we called him Captain Saver. And the thing about it is, well, one of the things about even that aspect of simp enforcers per se is that they can be violent. Okay, they can be so passionate about their failed relationship that you know they can't take the idea of another man sleeping with their woman. Sometimes people will have the debate where they would say, what hurts a man most or a woman most? Is it cheating that makes women hurt the most, or men hurt the most? And I would have to say that men are hurt more than women are when it comes to cheating, because they absolutely know, that it's pretty much it's just something that just hurts a man's soul. It just I don't know, it gets down in your guts, and you just don't like this shit. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it just kind of feels like, you know somebody violated your woman. And a lot of times, even when it comes to a failed relationship, or you become ex fiance, ex husband, ex girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, the man still he feels a certain type of way about a particular woman, even if he's not no longer in a relationship, and especially if kids are involved, it just makes it even more of a passionate reason to have some type of hate for the ex-boyfriend or ex-lover, so on and so forth. So I'm getting a little warm as far as my explanations, as far as what actually went on here. But other people were saying that these guys were, thugs, and these guys were, even some people say these guys were people that actually were quote unquote red pill guys or something like that. And the after the dust settles, it takes a while before things kind of get uncovered. People start to talk, and things get found out. Okay, so basically, the brother Tyree Nichols, basically, he worked at FedEx. Okay, um, he definitely he worked at FedEx. And when I say he worked at FedEx, it's not the FedEx you probably think in your head. Like, I used to actually work at FedEx as well, but I was a package handler. Okay, that's the lowest of the totem pole. Okay, you get in a little bit probably above minimum wage, and it's the lowest of the totem pole. He was not a package handler. He was a driver. So that's the equivalent of, the drivers sometimes make, I think some make up to $100,000 a year, or if not close to it, with overtime. So that's just to put in perspective what the salary or possible wage for a FedEx driver is. He was not no, like, kind of bum, broke dude like you would think that would probably be working as a package handler part time at FedEx. Because most of the time, I don't know if it's changed, both UPS and FedEx. I work for both of them, unfortunately. You start off part time, they don't even give you full time. You have to work for a few years before you get full time to be a package handler. To work as a driver, a lot of times that's what people start off. They start off as a package handler, and then they work their way up to be a driver. And it's so good of a job that a lot of times people retire as a driver. Pretty much to just put things in perspective as far as to not leave anything unturned as far as like in perspective of like where this guy is as far as his earnings and stuff like that. He was not like a just a like I say, a low level, low wage package handler. If you look up the salary or wage of a FedEx driver, UPS driver, you would know what I'm talking about. Because basically, I know people personally that have worked as a UPS driver, and they've probably at this point retired. And I'm talking about this guy that I know, him and his wife, they live the upper middle class life as a UPS driver. Okay, so it's not to be subjective to say that this guy was just, when I say FedEx, he was just some guy that worked at FedEx part time as a package handler, barely getting by, which most guys that do that, such as even what I did. I worked probably a few days and then I quit because it was just, you know what I'm saying? It was just really a difficult job, and it was not something that you was going to make a lot of money off of. This guy was not it. He was actually a FedEx driver. And I'm going to basically share my screen and point out what this possibly, allegedly, transpired over. I'm not gonna play the video of what actually happened as far as the beat down that was given to this to given to this young man, Tyree. He was 29 years old, but I'm going to basically put this out here as far as, like I said, this is allegedly what had happened to basically as the motive to why this guy was basically getting beat up. Okay. So apparently, we share my screen. This is the guy in question, Demetrius Halley. Okay. Uh, Basically, this is allegedly, right? I normally don't like to put things out as far as a rumor, but like I said, I did some light investigative work. The guy does work at FedEx. Okay. So basically, this guy, Demetrius Haley, one of the guys that basically was beating up Tyree Nichols, because I mean, basically, as a consensus, most people were saying that the beatdown of this guy was exactly a beatdown. It was no justifiable possible arrest. It was basically a bunch of thugs, hoodlums, and in my opinion, simp enforcers that was basically beating this guy down. And this is the reason, possibly, allegedly, that he was beat down. So it turns out that Tyree Nichols, that worked at FedEx as a driver, was basically having relations with Demetrius Haley's ex or whatever. It doesn't say his wife, it says ex. So that, I guess that's his baby mama. Okay. So basically, he was having sexual relations with her. They were basically having sex at work or whatever, as far as co-workers. And he was already estranged from her, or maybe possibly, I don't know, maybe you know how a lot of women do, they got one foot in as far as they dealing with the ex, and then they still dealing with somebody at work, you know, or dealing with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? It only has happened how many times last year? Somebody dealing with somebody and they still got live with their ex. The ex got a room key, and then all of a sudden they getting it on in the house of the girl where the girl live, and then basically the the ex-boyfriend come in and then let off a few shots, and here we go. Like, I mean, a lot of women basically they do that. They deal with one guy, and then they still got another guy at the same time, and it's supposedly that's they ex. They actually did break up, and then they still got one toe in. And then here's the thing. I'm definitely probably gonna do a video on single mothers, because that's definitely something that is kind of steaming. It's a few things that I posted as far as in relations to single moms. And another thing that, as far as people, as far as men, as far as the manosphere, another thing that we do not like is the current chancellery system, and how it divvies children to mothers automatically, in most cases, and very difficult to actually have some type of um, visitation and or dealings with the child, because women know that they have a lot of rights as far as in this country. And it is also a stickler, as far as why a lot of men don't want to actually even have children in this country, and or don't even want to, definitely don't want to deal with single mothers. And I have to say, okay, a lot of people, let's just keep it all the way 100. A lot of people say don't really deal with single mothers, and here's the deal. Like, what if I mean, this is all allegedly. Like I say, I'll say allegedly, but if this did happen, as it, like I say, allegedly it did. If Tyron Nichols or Tyree Nichols basically did not deal with single mothers, this wouldn't even happen. Because, see, here's the thing: when you're dealing with somebody that got children, they, like I say, a lot of women have one toe in the relationship with their ex or their baby daddy, and then they still seeing somebody else. Well, this is one of those reasons I have to say, if this is true, that you probably shouldn't. It just goes into the whole thing. Do you really want to mess with a single mother? Do you know what you're dealing with when you're dealing with single mothers? Because I'm definitely going to do a video real soon about dating single mothers. Because, I mean, I'm not necessarily against single mothers. All single mothers are not all equal. I'm going to break down, when it comes to single mothers, definitely. But here's the deal: like, this guy, man, is working at FedEx as a driver. He's 29, which is, I mean, unheard of. Like, do you know how much money a FedEx driver makes? And they get overtime. Let's just say, like, he is making $100,000 a year. 29 years old in Memphis, and just in case you didn't know, Memphis is actually, like, it's kind of better than the Midwest as far as cost of living, because it's the South. So if you got 100,000, okay, even if in Chicago, to put things in perspective, $100,000, or let's just say $75,000 a year. $75,000 a year in the Midwest, anywhere in the Midwest, you are balling. And if you 29 and you ain't got no kids, right? And you know what I'm saying? And he could have been doing other things. Like, I work and I do other things as well. Like, he could have very much had a side business, or he could have, done other things as far as made money. That was just his main bread and butter, of course, most likely. I mean, you 29 years old, you making close to $100,000 a year. That's a big deal. Okay, that is like something that to be 29, you're probably most likely in the 10 percentile, if not 1 percentile, as far as earners when it comes to your age group at 29 being a black male. And then he was also 6'3". So he had basically he was working with the 6, 6, 6, and 6, which is like basically six-pack abs, 6 feet tall. He was making close to six figures. Okay, and I think he probably had a nice V6 vehicle. I mean, that's basically the creme de la creme when it comes to what women look for when they out in the street. When they see somebody, Dodge Chargered up, Dodge Challenger up, got to know they got a good job, dressing good, smelling good, looking good. I mean, that just turned most women on. I mean, it just is what it is. And the thing about it is, when it comes down to that, you know, it's a lot of jealousy that comes from that. If you're dealing with somebody's woman, and in America, everybody's somebody's woman. If you pass the age of 18, you dealing with somebody's woman, basically. In America, I mean, you dealing with somebody's woman. Ain't nobody virgins, and I mean, I ain't gonna say nobody, but a lot of people are not virgins. It's less virgins as far as when it comes to women. I think for some reason or not, men are becoming more virgins than women. As far as like what I've heard, I've not really looked at that statistically, but all of that aside, I just want to say that in perspective, this guy was basically in his age group. Like I say, when you see FedEx, most people thinking package handler. He was not a package handler. That is not alleged. That is a fact. He was a driver. He was a FedEx driver. And anybody that knows anything about FedEx drivers, they make close to six figures, if not more, with overtime. Okay, and that's pretty much he was basically a Henry. If not nothing else, he was a Henry. Okay, high earner, not rich yet. Okay, so I mean, 29-year-old Henry, like I say, people think FedEx, they think package handler. He was not a package handler. That's the creme de la creme when it comes to men, and especially when you think about black men, you think about all the homeless. Black men are the most homeless in America. Okay, I'll repeat that. Black men are the most homeless in America, the poorest in America. Okay, and when it comes to you a Henry at 29 making over $75,000 a year, you are the creme de la creme when it comes to dating and mating. Most women are trying to, what I'm saying, basically knock you down. Okay. You are you know it's like that song, "You Are the Best." I think it was like in Rocky or something. "You are the best," and or something like that, man. It's you are the best. See, a lot of times, when you young, you don't realize how rare you are. Like when I got into my 30s, I started to realize how rare I was, and I started to move a little different, you know and I have to say, going back to this incident that occurred, him sleeping with his baby mama, you know um all the rhetoric when it comes to single moms. You got Minister Jap talking about don't date single moms. You got all kind of other people. you know if he followed that advice, he probably still be alive. Because see, here's it comes. You got simp enforcers, which this guy is the lead captain simp enforcer that led a crew of other simp enforcer cops to beat this guy down, basically because he was sleeping with his baby mama. Now, it could have been other things that were involved with that. I don't know. But I'm going to read this real quick to say, like I say, this allegedly, other than the only thing that is not allegedly is he was actually working at FedEx as a driver. Now, it says that this guy that this cop Simp enforcer Demetrius, he was basically his baby mama was allegedly working at FedEx. I did not verify that the ex baby mama or whatever worked at FedEx, but I have to say that okay, she probably most likely did, right? Because see, here's the thing: you got to understand like critical thinking. Okay, I'm not just some gossip dude that just came out with this, right? If you work at FedEx, right, a small city like Memphis, everybody damn near, I ain't gonna say everybody know each other, but a lot of people know each other. And a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, put two and two together. Oh, yeah, we knew they was fucking. We used to see them at they was, what I'm saying, always having lunch together and yada yada yada. They seen them people work at the FedEx facility. Everybody know. I'll tell you this: most people that work at a FedEx or UPS, I worked at both of them. A lot of people know each other. Okay, when I worked at UPS the longest, I'll even say this: I was tapping a chick at UPS that worked with a dude that basically another dude that was her ex, basically was working full time. He was full time, and then he was, because he was there for some years. I was tapping his chick, for a period of time or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? It's a small world inside that factory. Everybody, when you start to work with people and shit, and you spend hours, people talk and people see each other, you know what I'm saying? It's a small world. So it's not far-fetched to say that they knew that these two, people they knew each other, and then they put two and two together and they know the T. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that hard to put two and two together to make, four. So basically, what allegedly happened was, like I said, this happened 2 months ago, and the guy basically, you know, this incident already happened, so they probably already even know this. That just hasn't came out yet. And the thing is that allegedly what happened after they beat down basically Tyree, uh this guy here, lead Simp enforcer, Captain Simp enforcer Demetrius Haley, took a picture of him getting beat down, basically Tyree, and sent the picture to his ex. He's like I said, a simp is a simp. It don't matter if you a cop. It don't matter if you've been in the fraternity. It don't matter if you the lead bishop at Ebenezer Baptist Church down by the road, up the street from the river, down by the creek. It don't matter. A simp is a simp, and a simp, he basically what a real simp does, a serious simp. Everything's about a woman, and they do anything for a woman and some pussy. Basically that's in general, in nutshell, the ghetto terminology of what a simp is. And sometimes them simps they get violent. And this is allegedly what transpired here. This was a personal beef between basically Tyree Nichols. He was actually a Henry, because when I investigate, and then another thing is, I don't really like, I actually work for FedEx. I don't like to go on to talk about things that I have no kind of understanding of. I know about FedEx. I know about FedEx drivers. I know about UPS. I know more about UPS than FedEx, because I worked at UPS for almost a year. And I know what the drivers make. I actually, one of my family members' friend works for UPS as a driver, and he's probably retired now. I'm gonna tell you, the dude drove a brand new Lexus, and he lived in an upper middle class neighborhood. Him and his wife didn't have to want for nothing. His mother did not have to want for nothing. He was basically a high value man, and he worked as a FedEx driver. Okay, I mean not FedEx, but UPS driver. So a lot of people don't probably. A lot of people are trying to kind of spin the rhetoric that Tyree was just a broke dude, kind of like George Floyd. They don't know. You just people think lowly of black men, and then it also comes to a perspective of black people hate, have a hatred towards each other. Let's talk about that. Black people really do hate one another. You know what I'm saying? They have a hate complex, and it goes back to before slavery. And even on a slave plantation, black people just would how many stories probably have been untold of how probably slaves used to tell on one another just so they can get the other slave in trouble, just so they would stop. You just gotta think in your brain, like kind of have some history, like you know, and they have movies and slave movies and stuff about this. Like, it would be another slave snickering and laughing that another slave got whooped because they told on massa and told what he was going, what the other slave was going to do. And he had ambitions to leave with his woman on the plantation, and then he told somebody that thought he was his friend. Black folks been hating on each other for eons, and that self-hatred is very, very unescapable. Black people hate each other so much they don't even support they boycott their own businesses. They won't even support you because they hate your ass so much. A lot of why black businesses fail, you could say one of the aspects of it are black hatred towards one another. But I'll move on. Let me see what this comment says here. That's good advice, but in the eyes of the law, this would likely be considered a premeditated killing and be classified as a murder in the first degree. Well, here's the deal. Like this has been an investigation. This is not like this happened 2 weeks ago. In my mind, it happened 2 weeks ago. But from what I've gathered is that this happened 2 months ago, and they had an investigation. They determined that these guys were going to get fired. Of course, it made public, national news once this happened, and then I think about a week later, the video came out, and people are getting fired, people are getting let go. And there's also a lone white boy that was part of this situation that is pretty much he was a simp enforcer in the crew that they just coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like just as like today, I think they came out with the sixth person that got let go. And yeah, these guys basically were simp enforcers. They were definitely simp enforcers. They were in a crew. Some of these guys were fraternity brothers. So, pretty much, fraternity brothers gonna ride together, just like a gang, you know what I'm saying? And they pretty much rolled on the dude, and you know what I'm saying? He's like, let's go get him. And it's basically at the end of the day, yeah, it's very disrespectful to the fraternity, and they just probably just didn't think about it. And then here's the deal, like this is the era of the dash cam, the era of body cam. Like, dude, you can't turn your body cam off, because then that's an automatic lawsuit if you turn the body cam off. I mean, they basically beat this dude up over, like, is what I'm talking about being a simp. I mean, this is a textbook simp enforcers. A lot of people they don't have the understanding, you know what I'm saying, like of what actually things is, you know. These guys basically, you could say, yeah, they were thugs, but at the end of the day, it turns out this was over some pussy. It was over some baby mama pussy. And you don't know how many people die every day in America over baby mama pussy. I mean, like literally, and I hate to be vulgar and ghetto about it, but it is. But allegedly, this is what this is about. A baby mama that basically somebody else was involved with. This guy was basically a simp enforcer for a baby mama. He basically came on dude, beat him up with his crew of police officers, and made everybody look bad, including black people. People don't know what to think. He done made everything, like when you do bad, they start to look at what everything you done. You know, go to college, join a fraternity. Did he graduate? Probably not. A lot of black people, they join fraternity, they go to college, they don't graduate, but they make sure they join the fraternity, so they can get to the parties and get more pussy, and then they do some foul shit. They ain't even graduate, but they what I'm saying, they part of a fraternity, what I'm saying, and then you also part of another fraternity being a police officer, so then you making them look bad. Then you black, and we all know about how hard it is to basically join the police academy when you black. The history in this country when it comes to the police and trying to recruit black law enforcement is basically something that is a new construct. It's only like 40 to 50 years old, that as far as black people were able to even join the police force. And you think about all of that, and it just shitting on all of that, what I'm saying, everything that I just mentioned. And it's like basically all of it was allegedly over a baby mama that this guy was seeing. Tyree Nichols, basically Henry, FedEx driver, you know, prime of his life, 29 years old, probably had a nice, decent car, slim, 6'3". Basically, I mean, high value man, if not already, at the very least, a Henry, in the words of the late great Kevin Samuels, at the creme de la creme when it comes to, uh, you know, um, his age group, a 29-year-old black male in America. Okay. So this thing is, it's kind of like, you know, just putting things in perspective. I just, like I said, this is something that some of these things are alleged. This is not all 100% factual. There's still more details that's going to come out. Like I said, if this is not all the way true, I will delete this video. I will make a appeal or apology. Um, at the very least, these guys are, basically scumbags, violent scumbags that abuse their authority. You know what I'm saying? At the very least, I can say that ain't alleged. Because see, here's the thing: when I used to come up, I had no brothers. I pretty much I didn't really, I had cousins, but I really wasn't close to them as far as male cousins. So I had to learn how to fight. And I learned how to fight so good that a lot of times uh, guys would have to jump in because I had a reputation, that one on one was not enough. So one or two guys would have to come in and help the other one out because they just couldn't fuck with me. I was a young king, and they couldn't fuck with me 101. So they had to jump in because they were less of a man or a young man to deal with me. And that's some coward shit. Because see here, I respect the police officer. They got some beef with somebody. They put their badge, they take their badge off, or they leave their badge off. They get a gun to their partner, and it's like, hey, yeah, I want to squabble. And you squabble up, may the best man win. If you get him, he got beat up. If he beat you up, he beat you up. And then he put his gun back on and go on about his day, and you go on about your day. I respect that police officer. But unfortunately, my issue, as well as people in law enforcement has said, it's a lot of punk ass bitches that hide behind a badge and a gun. That these are the same punk ass bitches that quick to shoot, and then when they get caught and they go to jail, they don't have no guns in jail, and they getting beat up every day. And unfortunately, if I had something to do with it, I would petition Congress to make uh, police officers have to do hand-to-hand combat in order to uh, be on a street patrol, because it's a lot of punk ass, basically lower men. I'll just say lower tier men that can't fight, that use the gun. Let's just say like you know, like a pussy defense force to use as a first case basis because they can't fight. They probably went to school, went through all K through 12 school, and never fought, or never didn't have that many fights at all. If not, probably used to get beat up. So they have something to prove. So they join the police to prove something, that they're big and bad, to gain some type of masculinity by hiding behind a gun and a badge. And those people, unfortunately, they get into situations where they have to use their gun first because they know they can't fight. And unfortunately, as ex-military, I just don't think that is a good thing. I don't. I think that is a coward move to actually not know how to fight, and actually trying to put yourself in a position of trying to protect others and serve others. But I mean, this is all I have to say on this regard. Like I said, if this is not true, this video will definitely go down, and I will make a public comment about it.
The shit's chess, it ain't checkers.